Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Jason Shea, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the field.
Every product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son.
60% of all toys last year were sold on Amazon, which is incredible.
Be passionate about it because it's a road, it's a journey.
Like when you have an idea that you think is like gonna somewhat like change the world, make things better, I'd say go for it.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Toy Business Unboxed. Today, we have an exciting guest, Paul, the owner and the CEO of Burning Rubber Toy Company. Paul's journey in the toy industry started early at just age 15. And when he created the Hot Wheel business that took off, that lead him to doing more and more of specialize in the die car market. And today we're going to be talking about how he was able to build this business from the ground up, and currently is managing inventory over 100,000 cars, if I got the number correctly, and is also an industry expert known for his consulting work. So thank you so much for joining us on today's podcast, Paul.
Thank you for having me.
Actually, you are the first guest that specializes in die cars on my show.
What's behind me, you would think that I do something different, but this is just my personal collection on the wall. But cars are a big business.
Yeah.
We have such a huge passion for the car industry, and we're the resident experts.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more. So how do you get into this business at just age 15? That's like most
prior
people
to this,
the most
it-
high schooler doesn't really think about business yet.
no, I've been given a great gift in life. I think
Okay.
God gave me a great gift, a mind for business. And I wanted to find something I was truly passionate about. And at that point in
Okay.
time, we were selling baseball cards at car shows. Back in the
Oh,
90s,
okay.
baseball
Yeah.
cards were huge. You could literally set up on any corner and it'd be big. I liked the idea of order operation. The
Yes.
card had a number system so I could build sets.
Mhm.
And I decided, you know what, why are we doing baseball cards at car shows? So I
Mm.
started walking around at car shows, realizing that this is a beautiful art form. Something
Yeah.
about vehicles, all the chrome, all the design. I fell in love with it. And then I started off with Hot Wheels because that was the most accessible product that you could find in the store.
I see. Back then, when you started, what kind of Hot Wheel car were you selling initially when you first started?
95 was the make or break year for Hot Wheels. What they did is they created subsets. So there'd be 4-car series. They started this thing called first editions. And all these guys that were in the baseball cards, it was waning out at that point. And
I
people
see.
started realizing that, oh, if there's going to be sets, I like collecting sets. That's what I'm used to with baseball cards. Let's try it with cars. We started just putting things in order by the series. And people would
Mhm.
come up and say, I'm missing number 3, I'm missing number 2. And it just took off. I'm from Wilkes,
Mhm.
Pennsylvania, which is near Philadelphia. There was a lot of older people that were into the industry and they were on their tail end of selling. And what I did was
Oh.
I went in and I just bought everybody's set.
I love that. You buy everyone now. Okay.
I want to be the biggest. I want to be the best. That's always the way I go about business. And I saw these people that just weren't putting enough effort into what their customers were looking for. They weren't listening well to their customer base. And I
Mhm.
said, I could do this better. And I ended up finding people that loved cars so much that they ended up pretty much funding my life, which was incredible.
That's some crazy story. And
That's-
when you first started, were you all selling it in person?
Yes. At that point in time, internet was just, it was just smaller. It was dial-up
Mhm.
internet, if you could remember
Oh,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
things were
yeah.
just different. Hot Wheels was just starting to make message boards to sell things on, AOL chat, things like that. So I slowly got into that probably within 3 years of opening, but it was almost all in person.
I see. And I think you have built a pretty impressive business on eBay as well. Can we also talk a little bit about how you started on eBay?
It's definitely a sore point these days, but which we'll get into
Yeah.
here in a minute. But yeah, I was buying so many people's collections. I was buying so many people's businesses. One thing I joke about constantly is 95% of the people I meet in business shouldn't be in business. And it used to be a joke, but it is
Yeah.
business I find to be one of the most difficult things on the planet. And I think most people can't comprehend it. Most people
Yeah.
are passionate. They love what they sell, but they don't understand the whole grand scheme of things. And that's where
Yeah.
I'm different. I'm a businessman first and then passion is next. So yeah, it's just something that is extremely difficult to get into.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
this is something we chatted a little bit before the interview started. Is you're trading 9 to 5 to a 5 to 9 job.
As my wife could tell you, There's not really a minute that I don't talk about business, which is could be rough for some people, that's for sure.
Yes, it's definitely hard to separate the personal and the business aspect. That's something I struggle myself. It's hard to distinguish because, like, business, I feel like just part of me now.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
what I do.
You do need to find a
So,
good group of people that
yeah,
to unleash what you have inside of you, because with business, if you hold things back, it's built
yeah,
up. You need to
I
talk
see.
about it. It's like you almost need a business support group at some point in time. So what you're doing is awesome, and I appreciate it because
Yeah.
it gets out what I need to get out.
For sure. That's actually one of the reasons why I started the podcast is to meet other awesome entrepreneurs like yourself. I just chat about business. And I want to go into eBay a little bit further because eBay has been such an important part of your entrepreneurial journey as well. Of course, there's some up and down that I want to also dive into. So when you first started with the type of business model that you have, how many cars do you have in your eBay store?
So one of the things when I started eBay was like I just did a lot of research, which I never
Yeah.
just dive into anything. I really do sit back and do the research. I found a guy on there that was selling Hot Wheels loose or selling other brand names loose, like Johnny Lightning. And I loved his photography. One of the main reasons I never sold online was I wanted a way to represent myself, but I have such a big personality. I was like, how can I do this online? Because nobody's going to see me, nobody's going to
Yeah.
know me. So
True.
what I discovered was photography was the key to getting people interested in my product. So I found some people that were selling things loose, and I said, you know what? We've got all these multi packs that don't sell in person. We've
Yeah.
got a lot of things that we have in abundance because we bought people's businesses out. It's
Yeah.
just, okay, everything that's extra that's not going to take to a toy show or a car
Mhm.
show, let's put it
Yeah.
online. And the
Yeah.
photography we found, thank God, my buddy, he gave me the best advice ever. Amazing camera, amazing light
Okay.
box he suggested, and it
Yeah.
really took over. If you saw
Okay.
our pictures early on eBay, there was nothing else like it. We stood
Yeah.
out and it was incredible. And
Mhm.
that's how we got started with that. When it
I
first
see.
started, I'd say we probably built it up to about 2,000 cars. At our height, there was about
Yeah.
over 7,000 SKUs.
Oh my god.
It's a
Wow,
lot. It was a lot.
that's a lot. Managing a 7,000 SKUs online store is not a small feat.
No, and so
Well, great.
because I am different. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way. Everything's in order by make, model, year, which is something that
Oh,
people don't
yeah.
do. I
Mhm.
sat back and really listened to my customer base, and everybody had it in order by, like I talked about with the Hot Wheels, they had it in order by sets. As I
Mm.
saw as time went on, people weren't making sets anymore because there was too
Yeah.
many like baseball cards. There's too many
Yeah.
bums. So you
Yes.
start
Yes.
collecting the bums and you just only collect the stars. What I discovered was the people that I love to be around the most are people that truly love car culture.
I see.
Everything was in order by make, model, year.
Model
And
year. Yeah,
so
that align. Yeah.
exactly. So then when you went to my eBay store and had everything organized so easily, you were
Yeah.
able to buy not just one car, but you'd buy everything that you needed because
I
I made it so simple for you to shop. And that was a big
I
difference. There was a big difference.
And the other thing I think that's very unique, our team did some research about your business model. Back then, when doing your peak, I believe you have almost 100,000
We had
items.
150,000 cars at one point.
How big is your inventory team?
I was me and my wife for the most part, and we had one other person. It's just I found an awesome wife that really loved what we did. Her father took her to car shows growing up, which
Oh,
was great. She
yeah.
knew real cars better than I knew real cars. I
Oh,
learned
wow.
real cars through diecast, and then she learned diecast through real cars.
So
So the
how do you
combination of the 2
what
of
is
us
your
together.
tip to manage such a massive amount of inventory with all like 6,000 SKU? That's just mind-boggling.
I always said if I had to just worry about SKUs, I would quit this business. It doesn't interest me at all. I don't like the numbers of it. I love the art form of it all. So
Okay.
just having everything in order by make, model, year.
Got okay.
So the boxes in the warehouse are exactly the same way the toy truck is set up, is the same
Oh,
way the
okay.
eBay store is set up.
Okay.
So I try to make it idiot proof. So if we do hire somebody, it has the same exact flow in every direction, no matter if we're in person or online.
I see. And talking about the truck, I have to show the case the truck because you have an awesome truck. So for the listener that's listening that would like to see the awesome truck that Paul have, please also watch it on our YouTube channel. Can we talk about how big this truck is first of all?
It's 28 feet long. Each one of those sections is called a bay. So it's an 8 bay.
Okay.
And what it was a water truck out of Vegas. My
Yeah.
mind was I need
Yeah.
to give the people the best experience, have the
Yeah.
biggest selection, and have it to be easy to set up at an event. And
Mm.
I would literally sit out and watch vehicles go by. I was at a gas station one time and there was a guy that brought up a water truck and I
Yes.
started asking him questions and he probably thought I was nuts. But what
Yeah.
young adult says, hey, tell me about your truck. It's just
Yeah.
it's not something you do with a water truck. You know what I mean? And I
Really
discovered that I think this is the most efficient way to carry the most
carry
product
the
and
most
to be the
amount of
most
product.
organized.
I
And then
see.
I was lucky enough to find a guy in Vegas that was a good friend of mine that has actually a Hot Wheels tattoo on
Mhm.
his leg. It's
Okay,
amazing.
okay,
So him and his
cool.
father, they're into construction. They were building offices in Vegas during the
Yeah.
big boom. And
Okay.
he said, I want to build out this truck with you. And the three of us got together in our spare time and we kept on building it up. A lot of my concepts are in this. And what's really cool about this truck that nobody knows about for the most part, there's actually a room in the center of it.
There's
So
a room in the center of it?
Center.
What the heck?
Yeah, so
What's
it's
the
on both
room?
sides of the truck. So one side of the truck is Ford, Mopar, and Ford, and the other side is GM. And then
Yeah.
there's a door that opens in the first bay there, and you go inside, and there's actually bunk beds in the back. There's room for storage.
Whoa.
Basically, what's amazing to me is I thank God I've been given a great mind.
Is this also a RV?
It really is. It has everything other than a bathroom and a shower. If I could figure that
wow.
out, I'd be really
That's incredible. I didn't know there's a bed behind this thing.
yeah.
Okay.
It's
I
the world's only toy truck. There's nothing else like it. So
Yeah.
people have tried to replicate us on a U-Haul truck. It's just not the same thing, but
okay.
it is really incredible. And honestly, it's so overwhelming to some people, they don't even realize it's a truck. All they see is the car sometimes. That's always funny when people walk away. It's like, oh, dude, that's a truck. I didn't even know you could drive that. I'm like, we drive it all over. Yep.
You make it work.
Yep.
How long does it take to renovate the truck for this specific purposes?
Yeah. So it depends. You mean building the truck out?
Yeah, yeah, modify the truck. Yeah.
So from idea in my head to building it out, it took 6 months. Unfortunately, so the guys that I worked with, they had day jobs, so I had to work around their schedule. They're the most awesome, passionate people. And unfortunately, the father just passed away last month,
Oh, sorry to
which
hear
was hard for me because
Yeah.
he was such a quality human being and he did so much. It's almost like he took me in as a son to build this project. I could never thank either one of them enough. They're just such amazing people.
I see. Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
This is an incredible truck, and I think this is also one of the main reasons for your success as well because it's portable. How many like cars can fit on the display shelf? How many units are we looking at?
There's over 4,000 hooks on there, and so the cool
wow.
the way I built it is and my hands were crippled for I can't even tell you how long, it hurts. But you know how you hang a
Yeah.
light? It is separate over 4,000 of those
Oh.
chain links and then re-put them together to
Man.
build that, and it was difficult. That was probably the hardest part.
But each time when you are about to close, do you just close it? Is it like a shutter? How does it work?
Yeah, so like I said, thank God for the mind that I have. I've been able to figure out ways to everything just fits perfectly in it. So there's
Mm.
racks that go around the front of the cab of the truck. Each one
Oh.
of those bays fits those racks perfectly. And then down at the bottom of the truck, if you look, there's smaller racks. Each one of
Yeah.
those racks gets hung in each bay up top. So
Oh,
everything
wow.
it's literally like a set of like
Thank you for sharing this about the truck they built. The other thing I want to talk about, we mentioned about it earlier about eBay. When I first started, eBay was a little bit bigger as part of my overall revenue. Right now in 2024, I would say in my own toy business, eBay does less than 1%, maybe 0.5%, right? If
Correct.
not even that, maybe not even that. But that is my experience selling toys. That is a little bit different than yours. But I also want to ask, what was your experience over the last decade that you have
Yeah.
been selling on eBay?
It was very small. Like I said, it was an afterthought to get rid of product. And then we got into it. We saw there was a need. We saw people buying multiple pieces. We saw the photography work. And it was like, all right. And then eBay saw how we were growing and they really got behind us. They spent money on marketing us. We were the golden child in our category there for a bit.
Okay.
When the pandemic happened, because of my high inventory, most people did just-in-time inventory, where I was the opposite. I had 150,000 cars sitting in inventory. So when the
Yeah.
pandemic it exploded, we were the only ones on the internet that had the inventory that we did, and we took over. It was
Okay.
every single day we'd come here, we were shipping just tons and tons of stuff. It was so much fun because all these people were sitting at home, they got the free money to spend, and they came to us and they depended on us. We built
I see.
amazing collections during that period of time. So what happened after the pandemic was over with the new CEO, which I have complete disdain for, Jamie. There are people in life that you feel like I'm a very big on supporting the human race. I'm very big on supporting the greater good. And there's certain people in life that are just elitists. They make millions and millions of dollars a year and they only want to hang out with millionaires and billionaires. I don't believe in that. I believe that as a human
I
being.
could I can think of someone with the orange hair that's like that.
Yeah,
or-
exactly. So for me, I believe we can get as much out of the common Joe as someone that's a millionaire, billionaire. We have to listen to every
Yeah.
story because every story is crucial in our story. Building that out, he decided after the pandemic, you know what? Marketing these smaller ticket items, because most of our items are 10 to 20 bucks. We don't want to do that anymore. So he
Oh,
started choosing key categories, eBay Motors, because it's big ticket items, handbags, the shoes, anything that was hype item. So he took this is literally the worst thing you could ever do to a business is promote them, build them up, and then tear them down
tear
after
them
you're done.
down.
He
Yeah.
tore all of us down. And so you're
Yeah.
seeing the same thing I'm seeing. And every single person I talk to is they all have one foot out the door because eBay has destroyed our business.
Yeah, I feel like it's not worth the time and effort to
No,
even be
no,
on the
there's
platform anymore compared to before.
I can give you an example at this point in time. So in the diecast category, it's 13% of every dollar. It used to be just of the item value. Then they started saying, oh, we want it at the shipping value. Then we want it of the taxes. Okay. Then they said, oh, that's not enough. Now we want you to promote your items. So it started off, I did 1% promotion. I doubled my business. It went for that 1%. Who cares? It's a throwaway number. Then I went 2%. It did even better. Hey, fine. That's cool. I'm
Yeah.
comfortable with that. Then they decide to start dictating to you what they want.
Oh, make more money from you. That's wow.
Guess
Yeah.
what the starting promoted number is? 11% right now.
Okay. Well, 1% to 11.
They want starting 24% of every penny you make. And that's unfair. No one should ever be forced to that. Now we're seeing up in the 30% they want of every dollar. There's
Yeah.
nothing left for the entrepreneur.
So, in your online journey, have you ever considered just switch to Amazon instead?
I did Amazon for a while. I found it to be a race to the bottom. I'm a person that believes that sometimes you pay what you get for. With
But you
us,
have such a unique item. I don't think a lot of people will even have the same product as the one you have on Amazon.
yeah, I think what got me was the return anything policy, and Amazon will
Yeah.
pay it back. We started getting
Yeah.
stuff back that wasn't even ours. And the other
Yeah.
big thing that they restricted us on, we had a Mattel account that we did really well with. We're
Mhm.
15 minutes down the road from Mattel's warehouse.
Oh, wow.
We
Okay.
we sometimes would be the first ones in the world to get the product. They
Mhm.
would not let us list brand new product. So that's our big advantage.
Yeah,
If
you
you're not
have
gonna
to
let us
gate
list
they
the
have
brand
some brand gating they
Yeah.
did. Nike or any other big
Exactly.
you
Yep.
cannot list the new condition. Yeah, that's correct.
That was a bummer because we had all these people that were depending on us for the newest stuff out. We had a huge following,
Mhm.
and it was just like I started putting up things that say you can't list this, you can't list this. There's too many restrictions. If you're going to restrict me,
How
from
about
different stuff-
scale your own website using like Shopify or WooCommerce instead? How is that going?
Yeah, so it's been the biggest kryptonite of my entire life. We're going on 10 years, have never been able to find someone that could commit and do the job.
That's
Lately, here's the
crazy.
ironic twist of how bad Jamie Ionon is at his job. Like I told you, his big category in eBay that he's saying is where they're putting the money is eBay
Yeah.
Motors. Guess
Yeah.
what? The warehouse across the street did millions and millions of dollars on eBay Motors. Since Jamie has taken over, they're tanking their business. They've had a layoff. Yeah.
What? I saw
Yep.
that was a like category he was trying to poke.
So here we go. So you
That
tell
was
me what
very weird.
doesn't bring anything positive to the table. But what happened in that process was their website guy came over and we were able to do just some work. And he is absolutely incredible. Every day I talk to him, he is the best. We've got almost 30 years of customer base that love us and will follow us whatever we do. And I'm excited to bring them into our own website. They've been asking it for years. I also want to take iPads to the show as to where if we don't have the product in person, you could purchase it right there on the iPad.
Are you building it on Shopify or WooCommerce?
I wanted to do Shopify, but we did BigCommerce. There was some
Oh.
things that offered that Shopify didn't, and then it's a tough one because
I-
now we're signing up with Whatnot. I don't know if you've done anything with Whatnot.
I haven't done anything with
Oh,
Whatnot.
I'm
What do they
super
do?
excited. They've been so wonderful. Their customer service is literally like nothing else.
Oh,
They've
really?
been so attentive. I'm excited to deal with them. But they also have it's live auctions, but they also
Yeah.
have a store format, and their store is going to hook up with Shopify,
Oh,
which
okay.
I didn't choose, unfortunately. There's going to be a learning curve, but
Yeah.
I'm super excited to get working with them.
How do they charge? Do they charge a commission or is it a fee or?
So it's basically the processing fee, and then it's I think it's 10% or so. But the great thing about Whatnot is it's quick auctions. So you go on there, you show your item,
Wow.
15-second auctions, 30-second auctions. You can move more stuff in one day than you could do it on any other platform.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have my team look into that. I guess we have been so focusing on trying to optimize our Amazon presence, we haven't been looking into other marketplaces for a
Yeah,
while.
exactly. Yeah.
So,
You got to differ. You can't put all your eggs in one basket at this point in time because,
mhm.
as I'm discovering, I put all my eggs on the online basket to eBay, and in
Yeah.
the last 2 years, it burnt me hard. I'm looking forward to moving on.
Thank you for sharing that marketplace. I will definitely look into it as well. The next question I have is, of course, you have been doing this for over a decade. What are some of the biggest changes that you have been seeing in the toy industry based on your observation? And how do
Yeah,
you adapt to some of those changes?
yeah. So the quality of the products has definitely gone up in the diecast
Mhm.
market anyway. People always say, "Hey, I want you to see my old Red Line collection," which was the first Hot Wheels that ever came out. They were just clunks of metal, man. To me, they're just not what I would want for myself. If you
Mhm.
grew up in that decade, sure, I understand. You want your memories back. That completely
Sure,
makes sense.
sure.
Product now is laser perfect. It'll never, we are in the best time period to collect if you want perfection. There's a company called Mini GT out there, and
Mhm.
the amount of paint that they put on there and the logos, like if they did a race car, every logo on a race car is on
Mhm.
there. It's absolutely
Oh,
incredible to do at the
okay.
size of a Hot Wheels.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that has been great. On
Mhm.
the negative part of it is it's the door is closed. If you want to
Mhm.
talk to a company, good luck finding the email. Good luck finding customer
Mhm.
service. Good luck
Okay.
being able to talk to the people that you need to talk to. It's becoming so closed off that progress is literally going backwards. They're so
Mhm.
self-consumed that they're not listening to the customer. And I will tell you,
Mhm.
without your customer, without listening to your customer, you don't have a viable business plan. That's it. Customer is so important to the
Mhm.
growth, and that's what made my company great. All I do is
Yeah.
have these ears open at all times and
Mhm.
trying to get the best ideas from the customer base. What needs to happen next? What is the
Mhm.
next hot vehicle? Where
Yeah.
do I need to put my money next? And your
Mhm.
customers will tell you that.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's very valid.
But
And
I will tell
mhm,
you, the toy industry doesn't care. The toy industry is run by designers, and I'm sure you've had plenty of conversations with designers. And
mm,
unfortunately, and the way that they are, they're very self-consumed. They don't care
yeah.
about the customer. They get paid a salary. And what I found in this industry is if we're going to continue to pay people a salary, we're not going to see progress because they only want to get out what they have inside them. And I understand that. We need to, when you work a job, you have to fulfill some self obligations.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
I find is if you're a real true team player, you want to listen to the audience. You want to take all that feedback in because for me, I only get excited now when I'm making people happy. That is my
Mhm.
drug of choice. I
Good.
get so excited when I see that person happy that I could either build a new memory, I could rekindle a memory that they have from their childhood or
Yes.
growing up owning this car. There's
Yes.
nothing more exciting to me than making somebody happy.
For sure.
And
For
that's what
sure.
you need to do. If you want to be successful in business, you have to have that same mindset
Mhm.
because that is your two things in life you need. You need purpose and passion.
Mhm.
If you don't have that, you don't have anything.
Yeah, totally agree. I believe, I mean, for any kind of business, your why need to be bigger than just, oh, I want to make some money because
Yeah.
that is not gonna, you're not gonna last.
You
You're
have
not
to
gonna
have some
last.
goals,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, making people happy and seeing them smile, that's worth more than any amount of money they can give you. I mean, that gives me such great purpose. I can go home and be excited every time I know I made people happy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can relate to that. That's why I also run a foundation, which we actually donate some of our toy to school, so as well.
That's
So
huge. We have to keep play, and I agree. I did the same thing. My kids went to a private daycare, and I
mhm,
saw they didn't quite have the toy selection that I'd like, and
mhm.
they knew I owned a toy company, and I said, "Hey,
Yeah,
let me donate some stuff." Every time I walked in there and saw those kids playing with what I donated, you can't beat.
yeah, for sure. I know you also do some consulting on the side with other company. What are some of the common issue in the marketplace, and what kind of company do you usually consult with?
So the biggest brand name, it was something that like I said, I sold Hot Wheels and Matchbox growing up, and the biggest problem with that was they weren't make quality vehicles. So if you
Mhm,
drove an amazing Mercedes or a big time car, they'd paint it with some screwy paint job that it's not relatable to a person with money. So this company called Johnny Lightning, they really stepped up the game. Johnny Lightning
Mhm.
made authentic, real looking cars that you could say, hey, I drove that in high school, or that's the car I want when I grow up. And they made
Mhm.
perfection. What happened was Tomei, a big Japanese manufacturer, purchased them, and all the tooling just sat in a warehouse in a factory somewhere, in I think in
Mhm.
China.
Yeah.
I went back to the original guy that owned the company, and I said, "Hey, Tom, let's get this back. Let's try this concept of calling leasing tooling. We don't need
Mm.
to buy the name back. We don't need to buy the tooling. Let's just lease it. And hey, if it's sitting there, why not? What would be their objection? They were game for it. What was cool about it is he listened initially, and then he decided that he could do it on his own again. And when the stuff came out, the package was bulky. As I got older, became a hippie. I understand the amount of trash I throw out bothers me. It really bothers me. Single-use plastic.
Mm.
I was able to reduce the packaging to make it just mostly paper. I was
Okay.
able to put a real paint swatch. So if you went to get your car repainted, or if you'd know the paint number, I was able to put that on the package.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay.
one of the biggest things that I really love is, and I saw a disconnect between the youth and the older people that owned real cars. So if
Mhm.
you went and you're a young child and you went to a car show and you saw a 32 Ford Roadster, that guy never talked to you.
Mm.
He was too busy behind his vehicle talking to his friends.
Yeah.
What I did was I said, "Hey, let's put facts on this card. So when that kid buys this diecast, he can
Mhm.
have information and have a good conversation with the owner of the real car. Where
Okay.
I connect the
Yeah.
youth with the older generation." And that's a
Sure.
big deal because if we don't connect both parties, your vehicle will never be worth money.
That's true, and that's also educational, right? But for type of
Absolutely.
information.
So
More
we
than
wanted
just
to put
yeah.
on there what made your vehicle awesome so that kid could come up and say, "Hey, you have this kind of engine," or "This is the first of its kind." And that's going to
Mhm.
spark interest in the older person. And they're going to be like, "Hey, I want to talk to you."
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense, makes
Yes,
sense.
that was huge. So the
So
disconnect was just not listening to the customer base. And that is the same thing I talk to every company. If you are not out there at these events or listening to their feedback online, if you're not taking that all together, we are
mhm.
not going to progress. And what happened now is, unfortunately, some of these companies have been bought out by people that were more dictating to me what they're going to do instead of listening to what the customer base wants.
Yeah.
So we changed that. These companies are not going to be that successful. In fact, they're
Mhm.
hurting us so badly right now. Our
Yeah.
sales are down dramatically this year
I
because
see.
like I said, the doors are closed, their ears are closed.
What is next for Burning Rubber? What else are you working on for the rest of the year?
So our bigger car shows, our big international auto shows, the LA Auto Show is our biggest show of the year. Our
Okay.
booth space there is 2,000 square feet, else like it on the planet. There's nowhere that you can go to see that much die cast. That's basically a mobile setup. We're there for
Yeah.
10 days.
Oh, wow.
Build out a 2,000 square foot booth is a lot of work. So basically, we're going to concentrate on the rest of the year is getting this website open, which is
Mhm.
the things first. And
Sure.
then number two is just do as many events because we
Mhm.
find that people are happier in person. So
Mhm.
I think people are tired of buying online because during the pandemic, that was the only option they had. So they want to go to live events. They want to talk to people. They want to interact again. And
Mhm.
we are that ticket. That toy truck is there to serve you and to hear everything that you want. That is what is really making people excited to get back out to these events.
Okay, thank you for sharing. So, as well, wrapping today's interview, if you had to share just one piece of advice with someone that's getting started in the toy industry, what would that be?
Yeah, I had to think about that one. That's a tough one because being in this industry now for 30 years,
Mhm.
2024 is by far the worst year that we've had. The roadblocks are up. My suggestion is don't let anybody kill your passion. That is it. And I've had the industry kill my passion this year, and
Yeah.
that really upsets me. That is the opposite of what they needed to do. They needed to invite me in and say, "Hey, I know you care more than anyone else does. Let's
Yes,
get the show on the road." And
for sure.
unfortunately, I see the wrong people being recycled over and over again in these companies.
Mm.
They hit a plateau somewhere and they move on to another company, and it's the same song and dance. There's not progress. It really is.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. Kids
Yeah.
aren't playing with toys as much, and it's because
Mhm.
of the C-suite people that they put a suit and tie on every day. Hey, listen, this is the toy industry. We don't need a suit and tie. Let's be
Exactly.
cool. We need to bring the cool back to the toy industry. We need to
Mm.
bring excitement back. We need to have play back. We need
Yeah.
to do those things. And so if you're that kind of person that has passion, If you're the kind of person that believes that we could bring play back, let's
Mhm.
team up because the big companies aren't going to listen at this point. They're closed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
we,
something I'm
yeah,
working on
yeah,
myself.
I'm excited for your
Yeah.
progress, man. I really am. And this is why I
Yeah.
did this because I
Yeah.
like your passion and that's
Yeah.
very important to me. And I want to
Appreciate it.
surround myself with
Yeah.
people like you that want progress. And what you're doing with autistic kids is huge. I'm the same way. We have NASCAR. We're the only ones in California that sell the track edition NASCAR because we
Mhm.
have so many awesome autistic customers that
Mhm.
believe in order and operation. And
Yeah.
to see them happy and to see them talk when some of them just don't talk much. They don't interact
Yeah.
much. When
Yeah.
they come up and they give my wife a hug or give me a hug and tell me they're happy to be here, you can't beat it.
I agree. Thank you again for being on the show.
Thank
And
you.
for our listeners, thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We hope you have enjoyed the conversation and find it insightful and inspiring. If you like what you have heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. We really appreciate your support and would love it if you can leave us a review and share the podcast with your friend and colleague. For more resource, tips, and the latest update in the toy industry, visit our website at toy-launch.com. Join the conversation and connect with us on social media using hashtag ToyBusinessUnboxed. We would love to hear your feedback and suggestions for future episodes. Until next time, keep innovating, keep creating, keep bringing joy through toys. This is Jason Shea signing off on Toy Business Unboxed podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.